So calling the public hearing to order. This is Derek Baumgartner, Executive Director of Baltimore City Board of Municipal and Zoning Appeals. We are beginning our 1 o'clock docket of cases. This is June 30th, 2020. We originally had 4 cases on the docket, 1 withdrawal, and 1 request for a postponement, which we'll get to in just a minute. First and foremost, we are all using a virtual platform. We have folks who are logged in. We also have some folks who have called in. Just a couple ground rules. Please make sure that you are muted when you are not speaking. When there's background noise, it can interrupt the proceedings. Secondly, we're going to go through the docket shortly in the order in which it appears. When a case is called, we will identify you as either applicant or as someone who wants to testify either in support or in opposition. We will get to you. The online platform is helpful, but we have to find you on a list and then unmute you and do a couple things like that, so just be patient with us. If you are interested in testifying in a case, when that case is called, please either raise your virtual hand, which you can do at the bottom of your screen. There is an option to raise your virtual hand. There's a shortcut to that. If you click on the participants icon at the bottom of your screen, it's a circle or a bubble in the middle. It'll bring up all the attendees and panelists for today's hearing. If you find yourself, there'll be a little hand next to your name. If you click on that hand, that raises your virtual hand. That lets us know that you're interested in testifying. There's also a chat feature also at the bottom of your screen. For me, it is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th circle or bubble in from the left. If you click on that chat feature, you can communicate with the moderator or the group. If you're having trouble raising your virtual hand or indicating to us that you need to testify, you can send a chat message via that tool. Lastly, if you've called in, we will, in a couple moments, we will unmute you and ask for your name in the case that you're interested in testifying about. If you're not interested in testifying, you're simply observing the proceedings, that's fine. You can either give us your name in the case, or you can simply stay silent. We will get your information if you're interested in testifying, and then we will come back to you when your case is called. So that's just the way that we can identify you, to remember to come back to unmute you to get your testimony. I think that is it for my introductory remarks. Ms. Nadeau will be moderating today's hearing, so please just give us your patience when we're trying to find applicants and folks who wish to testify. You can also call our phone number, 410-396-4301. Again, that's 410-396-4301 if you have any questions about access. And with that, we will start the docket for today, starting with the postponement request for case 2019-439, 1611 Guilford Avenue. Let me see if I can find the person requesting that postponement request.
I do not see him on here.
I think you may have called in. So let me leave. I'm going to unmute some folks and see if we can find where Mr. Prettle is.
Okay.
And actually, you are the host. So yeah, so I can't unmute, but you can. We have 3 call-in users. I would suggest, or I'd recommend, unmuting them in the order in which they appear and finding out if they're Mr. Prettle.
Okay. So first, I'm gonna unmute call-in user 3. It looks like the Let's see. And go ahead and speak if you're Mr. Pruddle. The phone number is 410-446, so the first six numbers. All right, hearing nothing, I'm going to remute call-in user 3. Next up, call-in user 4. I'm going to unmute.
Yes. Hello, this is Mr. Pruddle.
Hello.
Go. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Great. Found me.
Right. Welcome, Mr. Pruddle. We're here for postponement request for you. Mr. Dew, there are other folks you need to unmute for this?
No. I think it's just me, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the opportunity before the board today. I am requesting a postponement for 2 weeks on this. There are some personal scheduling issues, in as well as what the Mr. Baumgartner had mentioned. Frankly, we would have been prepared either way, but due to the some again personal scheduling issues, I had reached out to the opposition's representative, and I know his clients would have preferred to go ahead today, but it's based on our conversation. It seems that they are begrudgingly willing to postpone for 2 weeks. I requested in an email that we're rescheduled for July 14th. I think that's acceptable. I don't want to speak for the opposition's representative, but assuming that's acceptable, I would like to, and especially in light of the 3 board members' status today, would certainly like to request that postponement only for 2 weeks.
Okay. Well, as you probably know, Mr. Pruddle, we do have 3 board members, which we will have for this particular matter. Mr. Rockin is not available today, and we have another board member who cannot deliberate on this particular matter, Ms. Middleton. The consent to go forward must be unanimous. So, given that you are one half of the required consent and you do not choose to go forward, I think we are not in a position to go forward, and the postponement will need to be granted.
Okay, thank you. And I would just add on the record that I do want to do this in coordination with the opposition, in good faith, but I appreciate that. And if that's all, I'll take this as a postponement and let you get on with the rest of your hearing.
All right, that's sufficient, Mr. Nadeau?
Good.
Very well.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and look forward to being in front of you in 2 weeks.
Certainly.
All right.
All right, bye.
Bye. I'm going to go ahead and mute Mr. Pruddle.
Can I just call the next case then, as we sit here?
Yep.
Case number 2020-98, 518 South Streaker Street. Visar Belegu to construct second floor rear addition.
Okay, I'm going to unmute you and make you a panelist. Give me 1 second.
And
All right, Visar Belegu, can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
okay, I'll go ahead and ask for any staff reports for this property.
Martin French for the Baltimore City Planning Department. Planning Department has reviewed this application and has no comment upon it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. French. Mr. Belegu, floor is yours, sir. Can you tell us about the project?
Yes, sir. So we, or myself and my wife, basically want to add an extension to the property, and so the second floor extension goes about 3 feet past what the limit is, which would allow us, after the extension, would allow us 12 feet of backyard space, which is very comparable to several properties on the block that have added very similar, if not identical, additions to what we're doing. I've added those to the application. Off the top of my head, I believe those were 510, 522, and 526, which have the same size extension. In addition to that, there was another house that was recently constructed with a similar extension in the back. So in light of the fact that I believe the backyard space is sufficient, more than sufficient to actually park a car still there, have like a parking pad, I was hoping to be granted the, permission to go ahead and complete the project.
Okay. Well, any questions from the board?
No, sir.
Okay.
I don't
So,
have any questions.
anyone attending the hearing, if you are in support or in opposition of this appeal, again, it's 518 South Creeper Street. Please use that virtual raise your hand function so that you may testify. Okay, seeing nothing there, I'm going to go back to these two callers. I will unmute you. If you want to testify, go ahead and speak. If not, you can just stay silent. The first one looks like the first digits of the number are 410446. I'm going to unmute you for a minute. Okay, hearing nothing, going on to the next caller. Looks like call-in user number 5, first 6 digits of the phone number 202302. All right, Mr. Chair, it looks like there's no one else to testify in this case.
Very well. Mr. Bellego, is there anything else you'd like to add to your application at this time?
No, sir.
Very well. Thank you for your presentation, and we'll take it up in deliberation.
All right.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Calling the case of 2020-97, 2645 North Calvert Street. Mr. Herbert Burgunder to continue to use premises as 3 dwelling units.
All right. Yes. Unmute. All right. So Mr. Burgunder has a presentation for us, so I'm going to let him do that in 1 second.
Well, okay. While you're preparing for that, if we can get any staff reports with regard to this property.
We have none. Mr. Chairman, I believe the planning department has a report.
Okay.
Thank you. Planning Department has reviewed this application, noted that this property was last authorized for use, according to records available to the department, as a multifamily dwelling containing 2 dwelling units. A certificate of occupancy issued on May 4th of 1971. The board disapproved the previous appeal, 654-79X, used the premises as 3 dwelling units on December 4th, 1979. The building has an excavated stairway and door in the front, under the front porch. The excavation of that stairway leading to a new basement space was approved on March 6 of 1973 for the purposes of providing ingress and egress to a basement laundry room. The application is proposing adding a 3rd dwelling to the existing multifamily dwelling, which currently contains 2 dwelling units, according to the records available to the department. The proposed use would require a lot area variance, which would be approximately 35.7% according to our calculations, which the department considers excessive in relation to the amount required by Table 9-401 of the zoning code. If there were only 2 units and this was a conversion that the board could consider, it would still require a lot area variance of 20%. The department is therefore recommending disapproval of the application. The variance requested and the amount of lot area variance required for approval is excessive in relation to the amount required by the zoning code, Table 9-401. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Chairman, I apologize. I misspoke earlier. We do have a letter in support of the application from the Charles Village Civic Association. That is included in the record.
Very well. Thank you, Mr. Burgunder. Mr. Burgunder, you're ready. We'll hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, and my client, Mr. Abramson, Ms. Nadeau,
Okay. Let me see if I can find him. You said the name is Abramson. Oh, 1 second. Sorry, you were on mute. Try again, Mr. Burgunder. I'm looking for a Mr. Abramson, you said?
Abramson, yes. He was on the list of attendees.
I don't see him on the.
It says Isaiah Shia A. ...
Ah, there we go. All right, so I'm going to make him a panelist and unmute. Okay.
Mr. Abramson, can you hear me? He's still muted. Oh, there you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So this is Herbert Burgunder with me on the screen of sorts. He is Mr. Abramson, who is the owner of the property at 2645. And I'd like to share my screen if I could, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
I don't know if you can see the screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is with regard to the property 2645 North Calvert Street. We were obviously unaware of the zoning history from the 1970s, but the zoning cards aren't available in the zoning office anymore. I understand from Mr. Veal that the zoning cards were sent out to be scanned and maybe not returned. So we are seeking a variance to permit the 3 units, which is what we requested in the alternative, because we were not able to know what was on the zoning card from the past history. My client, Mr. Abramson, and I'll just proceed by way of proffer if that's okay. The proffer would be if Mr. Abramson were to testify, that he would testify that he purchased this property from a foreclosure auction and was not aware, obviously, of the prior history, that it had 3 units at the time of the purchase. I don't know if you can see on the screen, somebody could confirm they see a photograph of
Yes.
the front of the building. So this property is a bit unique. Actually, it is unique for the neighborhood. It has 3 entry doors. So you can see apartment 1 is the main entry door. Apartment 2 is to the left. And then there's a basement entry door as well. And the property is, it's got 3 electric meters as well. Can you see that on the screen? Yes.
Is that one on the left operational?
Yes, they're all operational. The one on the left seems to have some bird, almost a bird nest on it, but it's all of the same vintage and quality. You can see with the, I think this is the chip in the front on all 3. And then you'll see the floor plans. These are as the property exists presently, which is there's a lower level apartment with a kitchen in the rear, a living area in the center, and a bedroom toward the front. The first floor contains apartment 2. You can see from the front porch, living room, dining room, and then there's the rear part of the second floor is apartment 3, and the 3rd floor is the rest of apartment 3. So apartment 3 is on both half of the second floor and on half of the 3rd floor, the whole of the 3rd floor. And what we're seeking is a variance to permit the 3 units and a variance for the parking. And while I do understand that it's at the upper end, I believe it's reasonable. We've worked very closely with the neighborhood association, the Charles Village Civic Association, and we've gained their support for this, as Ms. Sparks, actually Kirsch Jones, who's the president, but Ms. Sparks, who's the zoning member for the Charles Village Civic Association, is well familiar with my client and the condition of the property and supports our request for these variances. And again, while they may be at the upper end, we believe that the uniqueness of the property due to these 3 entryways make it different than the neighboring properties, which don't have the 3 doors. You can see the neighboring properties have the 2 windows and no basement entry. And we would believe that that creates a practical difficulty or unreasonable hardship that we would, it frankly would be economic waste not to use it. And we have worked hard and gotten the support of the neighborhood association. So we would ask that the board supports their request for the variance to use this property as 3 units, which we believe has been the case for many years, although we don't know exactly how many years.
Mr. Burgunder, when did your client purchase the property?
Mr. Abramson, what year?
I can look it up. It must have been about 6 years ago, 7 years ago.
And was that a foreclosure auction?
Yes.
Okay. And at the time he purchased it, those with this letter from the community association, those meters were present, and obviously those 3 entrances existed certainly as of that time.
Yeah, I mean the 3 meters for that we just upgraded the electric, but yes.
Okay.
Mr. Burgunder?
Any other questions?
I do actually. I'm just trying to understand this. If a property was purchased at auction 6 years ago, has it been vacant all of this time, or has the Mr. I'm sorry, is it Abramson? Has he been renting out all 3 units?
Yes, he's been renting out all 3 units.
And Mr. Burgunder, is there any access to the basement apartment from the first floor of the property?
Mr. Abramson, you'll have to answer that question.
There's an access to the basement from the rear, like from the outside. So the first floor can get in there from the rear.
But there is there any interior access, like a stairwell?
There is, yeah. There's a to the back, like utility room you can get in there, but it's not. There's no access from the first floor apartment to the basement apartment, and you can't get into the basement apartment from the first floor.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Is there any idea on why that basement unit was constructed?
I don't think we know when it was constructed or why it was constructed. I assume why to rent it out, but I don't know. We don't know when it was constructed.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Derek, did you say the Charles Village Association you support?
Yes, Mr. Cunningham, we have a letter in support from the association.
All right.
Okay. Any other questions from the board at this time?
I'm good.
No.
All right,
Alrighty.
so if anybody on the line would like to testify in opposition or support, you can go ahead and raise your virtual hand. All right, not seeing anyone. So next I'm going to go through the callers. We have call-in user 3410446. You're going to hear a small beep. If you'd like to testify, then please state your name. If not, you can just stay silent. Okay. Next up, call-in user 5. First 6 digits of that phone number, 202302. Again, you're going to hear a small beep. If you'd like to testify, then go ahead and do so. Otherwise, you may stay silent. All right, and then lastly, we have a call-in user 6. First 6 digits of the number, 443870. All right, Mr. Chair, looks like nobody else is here to testify on this case.
Very well. Mr. Burgunder, at this time, is there anything else you'd like to add to your application?
Nothing else. Thank you.
Very well.
And
Thank you for your
can I-
presentation.
I'm sorry, can I just for clarification, this is for a minimum lot area and a parking variance?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, sir, for your presentation.
Thank you.
All right, it sounds like that concludes the docket for today.
That's correct.
All right. We'll need to, any particular matter anyone needs to discuss in connection with case 98 and 97?
No.
Okay. Well, if not, then I'm certainly prepared to proceed to a vote.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Case number 2020-56, 712 Winston Avenue was withdrawn. Case number 2020-98, 518 South Streeter Street. I'm a yes.
I'm a yes.
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 Case number 2020-97, 2645 North Calvert Street. I am a yes.
I'm a yes.
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 And case number 2019-439 was postponed. 1611 Guilford Avenue, postponed.
Mr.
Yes.
Chairman, this might be a record.
Okay. Congratulations all. Thank you all for your support. And we'll see you back same time, same channel. Literally.
All right. Thank you.
See you guys.
All right,
Bye.
folks.
Everyone.
Thank you very much. This closes the June 30th, 2020 public hearing of the Baltimore City Board of Municipal and Zoning Appeals. If you have questions about the results in your case, please give us a call anytime after tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. at 410-396-4301. Again, for the results of this hearing, you're welcome to call in tomorrow, 410-396-4301. Thank you all very much. Be well and stay safe.
Well, take care.
Stop recording.
See you guys.